redefining co-working.
Exceptional offices for every business.
eSpaces expands with 2 premier locations.
Cool Springs at Corporate Center and Brentwood at City Park.
Explore the private offices, team suites, and fully equipped meeting rooms.
Limited spaces are available.
Schedule your private tour now at espaces.com and be sure to check out all 15 locations at espaces.com.
That's eSpaces.com.
espaces.com.
I added Michael Knox to MySpace, and I messaged him, and I cannot remember exactly what I messaged him about, but he responded and was super nice. Yeah. And at the end of our conversation, I said to him, and this is 21-year-old, full of piss and vinegar me, that has nothing going on in the music industry. I literally said something like, "Hey man, appreciate it. Tell Aldine I'm coming for it."
When y'all talking about that, I think about Jamie Johnson. Like when he came to town, I was writing at EMI and he got signed to EMI. I was at the Christmas party. And I didn't know him. He was new in town, but he was just had on a normal shirt, a leather jacket, and just almost a high and tight haircut, just neat as a pin. He didn't come to town as that, with the outlaw and all the hair and the beard and everything, but he found through his music and everything, he found that lane and he took it over. And there's nobody like him.
I think guys like Jamie Johnson, to that point, he finally let loose and did what he wanted to do.
Correct. Yeah.
Instead of what they wanted him to do.
I go to zoom in on my crotch, and my
thing, Johnny's hanging out.
It's hanging out the side of my boxer. And I've just sent this picture to 30 people.
The water was cold, guys. It was cold.
Yeah,
really cold.
The Try That in a Small Town podcast begins now.
Welcome back. This is the Try That in a Small Town podcast. You can't see it yet. There's somebody across the table from me that we'll get to. Now let's just go. Who are you? What is this? Are you celebrating the Raiders or Alabama? Because which side of the helmet?
Yeah, I mean, this is the Bama side, right?
Okay, that's the Bama side.
Yes.
What happened? Was there a game? Was there a game?
Oh, come on, Kurt. Seriously, was there a game?
Yeah, there was a game.
There was a game.
There wasn't a great
game.
Yeah, Alabama had a game, and Tennessee, too many issues on the road. There were a lot of issues. And I will say on, and Alabama's credit, they did play a solid game. There are some.
We couldn't run the ball.
There's some, but that's kind of been a thing that y'all haven't been running the ball.
True.
That good. I mean, statistically, if you look at the numbers, it should have been a lot closer. Because statistically they're about the same, but the scoreboard is
the game
not
switched
close to
right before half. That was going to be a game, and then they threw that horrible pass, pick six, game over.
Game over.
It was just a bad.
Pretty much.
It was a horrible play call.
Yeah,
and you didn't have time for another play, so they knew it was a pass.
I've got to I don't think it was a horrible play call necessarily, because you're not giving my team any credit.
Of course.
Well, we didn't get to that part yet.
He made the play.
I mean, you could say
he made the play, but there's a lot of bad.
Here's the thing.
Too.
Yes.
Tennessee called timeout, called the play, and then Alabama called timeout. And I turned and told my wife, I said, that's the smartest thing DeBoer's done in a long time, was call the timeout right there and prepare these guys, because they cannot run the ball.
Yeah,
There's
what
no
Kayla
way
said,
they can run the ball. And the best thing he did was call that timeout, bring the guys to the sideline, and prepare for that play right there. And they did, and they broke on it. And it was just a very, very smart timeout.
Yeah, everything back, and on the opposite side of that, and I do like Coach Heupel, but this season there have been some clock management issues that are on the field stuff that he needs to correct, because things like that cost you games. That was a 14-point swing. I mean, that was a, and just as a Tennessee, when you saw that, it's like, oh my God, that's the worst possible
all
scenario.
of it. I'm with you. The clock management up to it, the timeout they took before it, they screwed the whole thing up.
Yeah, it was just really bad, and you're already on the road, and you just can't have that stuff. And I was going to say too, Alabama, that when a quarterback throws as accurate, and you have a talented receiver catching some of those plays, it can't be defended. I don't care
You're
what
right.
DBs you have. Some of them are just, you just look at it, and even as a fan, I'm like, all right, well, they couldn't.
No.
I'm not mad at the player because you can't stop that. But they had every chance to be in the game. I'm not going to say, hey, they would have won if they'd have done this, because I'm not that kind of fan. But they had opportunities even to stay in that game, even coming back out in the second half after that debacle, because I was sitting there thinking, well, that's it, and they come back out, Alabama gets the ball, 3 and out, then we score on a running play, which why weren't we running the whole time? Because that's been the strength, and that's Alabama's weakness, and we didn't start doing that to the second half.
I don't want our listeners to think that I rub it in, because I don't. I'm not that way. And
No, he didn't rub it in.
We've known each other a long time.
He didn't rub it in.
But we're on a podcast now, and we're live. And
here we go.
The world gets to see us, and I'm just saying, the helmet's there. I'm not trying to. It's comfortable. I'm just kind of going back to my college days a little bit.
Well,
I'm not trying to rub it in.
Then you should have an MTSU jersey up here then.
True.
If you're going back to your college days.
That's true.
Because Neil was a punter at MTSU.
Kicker.
Well, let's get to the important stuff, because
Let's do
we
it.
have an awesome show tonight. We have an awesome guest, Mr. Adam Sanders. Neil, because I'd never met him. Is this somebody that you have written with, and how do you know Adam?
Me and Michael Delaney wrote with him.
Okay.
And we I got to know him there, and we had a lot in common, because the dude loves the outdoors. He loves to hunt. I love to hunt. We know a lot of people the same people that we didn't know we knew. So, and we were writing that day, and I go, dude, come on our podcast, would you? And he was all about coming on, and we're so appreciative that
and for people that don't know, he's on the show The Road, which Blake Shelton is on, Keith Urban, right?
Yep.
And it's a pretty awesome show, and he's one of the contestants, and this is like must watch TV.
There are 2 episodes
he's doing good
right now. 2 episodes in.
2 episodes.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch, and I'm gonna be like pulling for the dude.
Yeah, I'm pulling for him.
Now that we know him like we do.
He's a songwriter. He's had #1 hits, and got a lot of. He's been here a while, so you want to root for the guy.
I like the way that he came up through the ranks. Is really cool. The way he'd been singing since he was 3. His uncle got it. He said, hey, you ought to, write songs like at 12 years old. And then he came to town, and pretty shortly after that started having hits, like right away, which is unusual.
I know. I almost told him, I go, it could be a curse. I was like, I want to be an artist too, and I started getting cuts before I was an artist, and my artist career never took off. Same with, Jeffrey Steele did. Boy, howdy, was pretty good. No, he's going to be Adam's going to rock it, man. His work ethic, and knowing who he is, everybody's going to know it after this episode.
He's too stubborn to leave.
I know it. He really is.
I love it. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's get to Adam Sanders right now. We got Adam Sanders. Adam, thanks for being here, man.
When he came in, we called him Little Adam Sanders because his chair was about 3 inches
Chair
from
was to the floor.
Yeah.
We
do that on purpose for the guests. We try to
down here.
build you up as the show goes.
Yeah, seniority, right?
Yeah. There we go. Oh my gosh.
You look like
good.
You're taller than me. If I'd have done that, you wouldn't even sit at the table.
Welcome to the show, Adam.
It's like a dwarf on golf. You remember that Tim Conway thing? You got to be as old as me to know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the little shuffle.
Hey, so fun fact that I know the listeners don't know, but I know that you're going to be interested in. I found out Adam's uncle is somebody we know.
Who?
He's a player.
Please
this?
tell.
Been holding on information.
Player.
He's a session player, Scotty Sanders.
Oh, yeah. We knew
steel
that.
Player.
I knew that.
Love Scotty.
Isn't that amazing?
Pretty wild, huh?
Yeah.
Man, we used to do a bunch of sessions with him when we were doing demos back in the day at Station West.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not half as funny as he is, though.
Well, he is something else.
He is so great all the way around.
Yeah.
What a great guy to have in a session, too. Just awesome.
And the wild thing is in the fate of how I got in the music industry was when I was 12, he called me one day because I started singing when I was like 2 or 3 years old, and he said, hey, have you ever thought about writing songs? And at 12 years old, like that did not compute to me.
Right.
He said, you should look into writing songs. That could be your way in the music industry one day. And so I hung up the phone and started writing songs with my dad, and then I started writing in high school, and literally fast forward, moved in 2009, and 2 years later got a publishing deal, and that's exactly how I got my start, was all because he planted a seed when I was 12.
Yeah.
Is this your dad's brother or
Yes.
your mom? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so my dad's younger brother.
And where were you living at this time?
So I grew up in north central Florida, a little small town called Lake City. You blink, you miss it, I like to say. But I kind of grew up just like, every small town America kid, into sports. And music was always my thing, though. I always sang in talent shows and fairs and festivals and all that kind of stuff. And, so my whole goal from the time I could even remember was to literally graduate high school and move to Nashville. I had no other dreams or aspirations. I literally think I kind of procrastinated for about a year. I took a half semester at our community college, and I kind of thought to myself, well, all my buddies haven't went off to college yet, and we're all still hanging around during the summer and going to the rivers and, kind of hanging out and bonfires and all that. And I was like, I'll take like a half semester of college and like, business, and then I'll transfer to like music business, which I barely graduated high school, so the thought of me going to college was never going to work. So I literally, it took about a half semester, and I was like,
that was my same path.
I got to go to Nashville.
The music business, right. Anything had business in the title?
Yeah. I couldn't even spell business.
I still don't think I really graduated. I think they just pushed me through.
Yeah.
Because, I was right on the bubble.
Get him out of here.
Well, it's all the rich kids get a pass.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that crazy, though? Like, I talk to a lot of people in the music industry, and, like, as, like, creatives, like, I was just not interested in school. Like, I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't, in detention or getting expelled. I just didn't like to go, and if I went, I just wanted to go and socialize, hang out with my buddies. Of course. I didn't give a shit about,
I think there's
what
a real thing to right brain, left brain.
Oh, yeah.
I think creative types.
They call that ADHD today.
Right.
They
A
medicate
boy
you.
being a boy is now called ADHD.
Hey, Neil, I got to say, I agree with you on that. Like,
Yeah, it's true.
There's always something.
it's
They
silly.
got a name for everything now.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I heard something the other day where they're trying to like make recess like half the day of school.
What do you mean?
Like,
why?
Run them crazy, man. Run them wild.
Shoot,
let the kids go. They get too bound up in there.
That used to be my favorite time. I still, to this day, one of my only claims to fame of growing up is I still hold the mile record in my elementary school for the mile run. I got the
what
record
was
for
it?
the fastest time.
Elementary, you're holding on to that one, aren't you?
Hold on to that one, baby. Yeah.
Good Lord,
That's pretty good. That one good broken in 20-something years.
Elementary school.
Would you remember the
Pretty
time?
good. No. I do remember this, though. This was
Do
funny.
they still do it?
As far
Maybe
as
that's
I know,
why. Maybe they stopped it.
He's still racing in it.
I
That's
don't
why-
even. I don't even know if that school is still. I don't even think it's even there anymore.
That
so
helps.
That might be
That
why
helps.
that is going to
We're
stay
getting
in
into
the
the
record
Yeah,
books.
I got
But funny story is I do remember. I was always in like chorus and drama and all that kind of stuff, growing up. And I remember we did this Grease play in 5th grade, and I got the like lead role, and was John Travolta or whatever.
Nice.
So I
Excellent.
dyed my hair jet black for this, and I had this crazy thought after literally we done the play, and it was like a Thursday, Friday afternoon, and I was like, man, I'm about to go hit this mile. Like I'd been trying to run it, and I'd kind of gotten close to it, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. And I remember I got about 3 or 4 laps around this track, and I started sweating, and all that black dye started coming out of my hair, and it was all running down the side of my face, and I somehow got the fastest time as I'm running around with black hair going around.
Does anybody have a picture of that?
If they do, I don't know, and I probably don't want to see it.
Because that's
but, yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Speaking of pictures, I want to hear the story because Adam's a big hunter, like I am.
Okay.
And we like when we've gotten together to write, we spend half the day looking at deer pictures.
Yeah.
But you got to tell the story about the deer that you shot this year
Yeah.
with your bow. Go.
This is embarrassing. I'll tell you this. So I go to Kentucky opening weekend for velvet season, and I have a good friend that's up there, George Cummins, that invited me to come up and hunt with him. And
These guys don't know what velvet season is.
the velvet season.
I was actually
yeah.
going to ask him.
on
So,
their antlers.
I got you.
so on their antlers, velvet is what's on their antlers, and in certain states, the hunting season starts early enough where you can harvest a buck that is still in velvet. Most seasons doesn't start until after they've already shed their velvet, so it's kind of a unique thing to be able to hunt one that early to get a deer. So anyway, so I go up for that section of the season, which is literally the first weekend, and he puts me on this really, really nice buck. He scored 164 inches. So I shoot this deer, and where I shot him with my bow, he fell in this creek, and it was way off down in this big, deep ravine. And so we go to track him and find him, and he's in the middle of this water. It's like 4 foot of water. So I have to strip down to my boxers to go in to get this deer out of the water. So all my buddies, you know, that are with me, they're on the bank, and, you know, they're all laughing at me, any excuse to take your shirt off, you know, sort of thing. They're videoing me. And so I wade out in the middle of this water, like, you know, waist deep, we get him to the side of the bank, and I didn't think anything of it. So I just start posing him up, and I start taking pictures, and I'm still in my boxers, and all I got is my boxers on and my hat. This exact hat, I got it turned around backwards. So I started taking pictures and posing, and about halfway through, I realized, hey, you idiot, like, you probably need to put some clothes on. So I go and put my, you know, clothes on. So we get back to the truck, and, you know, I'm sending these pictures around to all my buddies. Well, in some of the photos, he looks the biggest when I'm in my boxers, and I thought it would be funny for them to, you know, tell the story. Hey, I had to get him in the water. I didn't realize this, though. I had sent it to about 30 of my buddies, and I realized after setting about a week later, I go to zoom in on my crotch, and my thing,
Johnny's hanging out.
is hanging out the side of my boxers. And I've just sent this picture to 30 people.
The water was cold, guys. Buddies. It was cold. Yeah, really cold.
So still to this day, I don't
feel the air.
No, I was too hyped up over this big monster buck. I wasn't worried about what he was doing down there. But now 30 of my buddies has this picture, and I don't know if they've thought
you're in trouble.
In and was like,
no, you're in trouble, dude.
That's bold, or
that's
if they were too busy looking at the rack. But so now I got a picture of my Johnson hanging out the side of my boxers.
It's like that. Hey, you know what? If you win the road,
by God,
it's not going to be only your face going viral.
Yeah.
Oh God!
OnlyFans deer hunting edition.
Have you you ever watched Seinfeld? Mm-mm. So there's an episode where same thing, like Kramer. Kramer takes a picture of Elaine for a Christmas card, and turns out her nipples show, and she doesn't realize it till the Christmas card's already sent out. So that should be your Christmas card.
That's right.
And see
good idea.
You're the first person I'm gonna send it to.
See who catches it.
I will hang it on the fridge.
Merry Christmas.
Luckily, you can't see much about it, but you can tell what it is.
Oh my God!
Wow, I want to hear about the road. I want to know how that's going,
man,
and how it started.
Yeah, tell people what it is and what's happening.
What a wild opportunity! First off, I mean, man, like I said earlier, I moved to Nashville in 2009, and my whole goal when I moved here was to be an artist, and, you know, found my way through songwriting. And I feel like, you know, for my early years, I got such success early in songwriting that I kind of got labeled as the songwriter pretty early, like in Nashville. And I think a lot of labels and different things sort of just saw me as like the young kid that had 2 number ones and all these things, but like I didn't have anything really developed in the artist side of things. And so I've spent the last 10 years just sharpening the knife, going out and playing shows and getting better and writing and finding what my brand is, and understanding the difference of there's already a Jason Aldean, there's already a, you know, Luke Bryan and a Luke Combs. What is my thing that separates me? And so, you know, I kind of feel like I hit on that about
boxer shorts.
Yeah,
that's your thing.
Well, Luke Bryan's got the jockey stuff going on. So I don't know if that might be a competitive competition.
I see a big endorsement coming.
So I literally get a call out of nowhere one day from Blake Shelton's production manager, and he says, "Hey, can I pitch you for a show?" And I was like, sure.
Did you have any connection with him? Did you have any connection with Blake?
No, so I think I played a Country Thunder festival, which you guys have played Country Thunders before. I played the Wisconsin one, and he saw a show, and he was like, "Man, I just love what you do." He was like, "This is great. You know, you got like a thing about you." And so he remembered that performance, and when they were starting to look for people for the show, he reached out to me, and I was like, "Sure, whatever." Well, I had never had any bit of thought to do any sort of singing competition show. Like that was the furthest thing from my mind. But when they told me sort of the parameters of the show, I got a little intrigued, which was, so Blake Shelton produced this show and was the creator of the show. Him and Lee Metzger. So they come from the Voice, obviously. From my understanding, Blake was in a position where he was like, man, I feel like this model is broken. We're not producing stars. We basically, we're putting singers on a polished stage that is, confetti falling. It's the furthest from reality of what, an actual star is supposed to be. And a lot of times, no fault of their own as far as the contestants that were on these shows, a lot of them are pretty inexperienced. So when they win the show or they do well, when it comes time to say, okay, well, now what is your songs? Now that you're not going to cover a song, they don't have that sort of stuff built. They don't have the foundation built, so they spend the next 4 or 5 years building all that. Well, by then, all the hype is sort of went down the drain, and they're kind of caught in this weird spot of like, well, they won this television show, but they could never capitalize on it because they didn't have all the mechanics.
Well, they lose their platform.
Yeah, so Blake was like, we need to get more established artists that are kind of right under the surface, that have all been sort of doing this, grinding it out, and is just a moment away from having their career go to the next level. And he said, we need to put them in real show environments. So what they did was they got Keith Urban to come along. Keith Urban is headlining the night, and we started with 12 contestants. We all opened for Keith Urban that night. We had a session band that we all played with, and Keith used the same exact band, so there was no changeover. And we basically did 2 songs each night. We did a cover and we did an original. And the goal was one in every, so many audience members got a voting device. And they said, hey, you pick who you think did well. And so what they would do is, all these fans show up thinking they're coming to a Keith Urban pop-up show. They get in this thing, and then the producers walk out and say, all right, you're here to see Keith Urban, and he's going to play after, but you're also here for the filming of The Road, and you're going to see, 12 contestants you've never seen before, or how many ever are still in the competition, and whoever got a voting device, they're going to play their 2 songs. You've got 2 minutes. Rate them from 1 to 10. Voting closes and goes to the next person.
Oh, that's a great concept. So it's not a TV audience. It's an audience that's there to see music. And then, by the way.
Blown.
That's authentic.
Country music audience that is there to see, Keith Urban play.
That's awesome.
Are they letting them drink?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's good. It's
key. So,
maybe go towards the back end of it.
Well,
they're good liquored up.
And here's the thing. So when I understood sort of the parameters of it, I thought, man, okay, this is a cool opportunity because I've spent the last 10 years touring anyways, and I've been fortunate to open for some of the biggest acts in our format. I'm going to tour either way. So if I can tour in front of Keith Urban for a handful of shows, and I can get some national television exposure, and I'm doing my own original music, and I can have the freedom to pick what songs I play, when and where, and there's not a host of the show per se, so I'm sort of telling, all the artists are telling their versions of their careers through their own eyes. So you're representing yourself. So whatever your story is in your mind, you get to tell that. They don't necessarily fabricate that and sort of say, well, we should brand this person this way, or we should brand this person that way. They sort of give you the freedom to say, all right, well, what do you want people to know about you? And so I thought that was really cool. And I did it to sort of prove a point, which was I knew what I was doing out on the road. I knew the amount of engagement that I was having and the meet and greet lines, and I knew what my streaming numbers were doing. My problem with being an independent artist is I never could get any consistency. I would go out and I would open for, Carrie Underwood for, 3 or 4 shows in, the State Fair of Iowa. Well, I couldn't get the booking agent to send me back to a club to build that market out after they've already seen me. Yeah. So I was falling in these pitfalls of like, man, I would go on a run of a year or two where I was playing great shows, but we couldn't convert it to hard tickets and we couldn't build up markets. And so I said, I'm about to do this to prove what I already know, which is I know there's a demand for me and my music, and if the fans decide this, I feel like I got a shot, to go all the way to the end with this. So, it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I can honestly say that there's not anything about it that I would say was negative in any sort of way. It was pretty cool from top to bottom because I feel like it empowered the artist, and it wasn't this fabricated thing, and it's meant to be sort of a docu-series, so it's not a reality-based thing. So it's a lot of B-roll, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff of when we're in rehearsal and we're trying to figure out transitions and we're trying to figure out what songs we're going to play, and the band sort of helping us, say, okay, well, for time purposes, we got to cut the intro, so we got to do a dry start. Okay, well, what if we add 2 bars in the verse or whatever, sort of thing. All they gave you the tools to be able to say, all right, here's your moment. Here's your 2 songs to wrap an artist or wrap an audience in. Give them what you got.
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah. I do love what Blake's model is, though, is that it's people that are just bubbling.
Yep.
And we always talked about it for years, being here for so long before YouTube and TikTok and all the stuff that happens now and Instagram. So many great artists were just a break away. And they're incredible, but they didn't ever get that one break that you needed.
Yeah.
And that is.
But the audience truly gets to decide.
100%.
That's what I love about it.
And the great thing is the diversity of music in this show is awesome. You've got a couple artists that may lean a little bit more towards like a Red Dirt. You've got, a guy that is like more of an old school kind of Waylon feel. Then you've got kind of my thing, which is probably right down the middle, country radio. And so when a viewer watches this show, regardless of what kind of music you like, there's going to be someone that you identify with and sort of connect to. And so I think that the beauty is they didn't sort of get all of the artists that do the same thing. There's a lot of diversity in that whole thing. But I also think that, you had to be pretty strategic because you guys know this. You go and play different markets. Different crowds in different regions of the country are different as far as what they're kind of looking for, kind of what they want. So I think, like that served me well to sort of think that through all the way to the detail of, okay, we're in, Fort Worth, Texas tonight. What does a Fort Worth, Texas crowd want to hear of my music that they can relate with, versus what does a Nashville crowd want or wherever it may be, so it was pretty cool.
That's very really cool. I love it. We've talked about this a lot too, whether it's, and like you said, it's no fault of their own, but if you're on The Voice or if you're on any of those shows, you don't have the background of grinding in a club for 5 years and knowing how to fail, knowing how to have success after that failure. And like you said, they've got these artists that have done it, been bubbling at the surface. Yep. I love the concept. It's amazing.
Yeah, because you've been working at it. And that's my biggest complaint with some of the artists today, the new artists, is they may go viral, whatever that means, on whatever platform, and they're tossed out there on a tour.
And they don't know how to do a show.
They're out there, and you're like, oh, it's so uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
It's a fish
half
out
of
of water.
them haven't even played with in-ears before. It's like they don't even know what an in-ear mold is. So it's like, how can you play a stadium if you don't have
But I do love
that.
And of course, Blake, because Blake was a grinder too. So he gets that, like the people that have been like yourself that have been working at it, writing songs and trying to build your brand. That's who we should be giving the chances to.
Amen.
That makes the most sense to me because you know how to do it. You know how to get a crowd. If you start to lose a crowd, how do you get them back?
Yep.
You got to learn. The only way to learn that is by playing shows.
Yep.
So great. I mean, I didn't realize that was the kind of the platform.
The model.
Yeah.
So we'll keep talking about it, but what channel is this on? How do people watch?
Yeah, so this is on CBS Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
So every Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, it's a live episode, basically, you know, of that night. And if you miss it, you can, stream them all on Paramount Plus. And so this thing is going to run all the way up into December till they whittle it down to,
And
one
what
person
episode
standing.
are we on now?
So we just finished the second episode.
Okay.
So there's 2 shows in.
Do you know if you made it past the second episode?
Yes. Yeah. So we're locked in and good to go and still on.
So what we need to do, third episode's coming up. We need people to watch this thing. And hold on,
sure.
no, the TV audience doesn't do it. It's only the people
Exactly.
actually in the audience.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
If we give you a Try That in a Small Town podcast T-shirt, will you wear it on the show?
Yeah. Let me go back in time. And, see if I can teleport back. Hey, the funny thing is though, is we have been doing some pickup shots through this because they sort of realize as they put these episodes together. We filmed all of this February, March, and April. Okay, well, when they got into post production, they realized, man. We didn't have enough of this, so we would have to go back, and they would sort of ask me, "Hey, like the first show, you did your song. What If I'm Right? You said it was the most streamed song to date. Can you talk a little bit more about it?" And then I would go in and be like, "Well, I put this out, blah blah blah, in 2021, blah blah blah, and so they would add some of those elements in to kind of give more backstory, to it. So
good for you.
And I like the song too. I heard it. It's great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Thank you.
I think the coolest thing, like you said, it might have been a negative for you being known as a writer first and everything as far as the artist thing. I think it's the huge strength because your success as a writer took off pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, when you move to town, usually it doesn't happen that fast. So what do you attribute that to? Were you just a great idea guy, melody guy? Was it the right co-writes, relationships?
I think it was finding your crew. And you guys all know this. Yeah. Man, when I moved here, having Uncle Scotty in the business was a little bit of an advantage, but my uncle has always sort of been a guy that is not the, hey, look how great my nephew is. He is never that way, and you guys know him, personally. He's just not that way.
And as a steel player, I got to say something before, and I'm glad you brought him back up because steel players are a quirky bunch, to say the least.
Yeah.
But not him. He's an amazing player, but just an amazing guy and normal.
He's a pretty normal guy.
Like as far as steel players go, and they know this. This is nothing like I'm not gonna offend anybody. They're weird as shit. Like steel players are weird.
Well, we're all weird
as
to be in this
shit.
business.
Okay.
They're
We all weird.
No. Steel player. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no,
they're
he's
weird.
Right.
They're
He's
weird.
right.
But he is awesome. I remember being in sessions with him, and he was. Sitting there just feeding off each other, which was really, really cool. What a great... Tell him we said hello.
Yeah,
I will.
He's a good man.
But he's a great player, but also just a normal guy.
Yeah, so when I moved here, the first thing I thought of is I said, all right, my dad's in construction. So I said, I moved in with my dad. We lived in this double-wide trailer. And so I said, all right, I can go work with him. I can live with my dad. So I got a place to sleep and got a place to stay. I'm going to work with him for a week, save up a little bit of money, and then I'm going to call my Uncle Scotty and say, all right, what sessions are you in for this week? And he would text me, I'm at County Q 10, 2, and 6, or I'm at, Legends Corner, or whatever, these sessions. So I would just go shadow him for a whole week, and I would set in on these sessions, and every time, as they're demoing songs, I'd get them to print me out a chart because I wanted to learn, the Nashville number system. I was like, I'm in class. Here we go. So sort of by association and by being there, so many times I started running into the same songwriters. And, after, 3 or 4 months of this, I would have guys, hey, what do you want to write? Sort of thing. So that sort of started to happen. Yeah. But what I was also doing is I was going out and networking. And I would go out to Winners and Losers and, Red Door and all these places, going to whiskey jams and all this and meeting guys that were all in the same level as me. And some of my best friendships still today came from those times. That was back in the MySpace days, if y'all...
Wow. Tom was my friend.
And so we, some of the very first people I ever met was Cole Swindell and Chase Rice and John Party and Blaine Rhodes, that's in publishing. And, Ryan Beisel and all these people that, we all started to kind of rise together. And, back to your question, Kalo, I feel like my early success was by writing songs with my crew that we all started to kind of grow together. Like my first number one was a song called You Ain't Worth the Whiskey for Cole Swindell.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And so we wrote this song before I had a publishing deal. Cole had just signed a publishing deal. And our buddy Josh Martin was a security guard officer at Belmont University, which is who introduced us together. He had the title. We write this song, and this song just kind of floats around Nashville for 5 years. And it was on hold for Montgomery Gentry, and I think Luke Bryan had it on hold at one point. Easton Corbin had it, and we always joked. We said, all right, out of the three of us, whoever gets a record deal first is going to cut this song. Cole gets a record deal first. He cuts the song. Ends up being my first number one. His third, consecutive. And so same thing. My second one was a hell of a night for Dustin Lynch. He saw me play a whiskey jam one night. Came up to me and was like, "Hey, dude, I love what you do." A month later, I'm on the bus with him writing songs.
Now, Boyer said he wrote that by himself.
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute now. Jaron Boyer. We love Jaron.
Word for a third.
No, we love Jaron.
But I played that song on the bus while we were out. We were out. I think me, Zach Crowell, and Jaron might have been on that run. And me, Zach Crowell, and Jaron had written that song a few months prior, and I played it for Dustin on the bus, and he ended up cutting it. And so it's just by finding the guys that I was,
You're 100% right. And what you said also, people always ask, hey, I want to come to Nashville. What do I do? What do I do? And that is one of the biggest things is you just got to get out. You got to get out and meet people, find people that are in the same spot or different. Just get out. You have to be present to be able to make anything work. And that's what we did when we came to town too. It's like you just have to be out there.
we got enough. We got enough writers in town right now. Just wait another 5-10 years. We got it covered till then, right?
I think so. Yeah. I don't know.
Let me tell you what not to do though.
I can't wait.
Y'all gonna get.
We know this too.
Y'all gonna get a kick out of this. All right. So this is MySpace days, right?
And what's MySpace now?
Were you on MySpace, Neil?
No. I just got a cell phone.
It was before Facebook.
Yeah, it was the OG.
You really don't know what MySpace is?
Really?
So MySpace was like the OG Facebook.
Yeah.
And you could have like a music page. So you would basically have a page and you'd have like your top friends on your page. And so we all created music pages and we would put our songs up on the music page, and you would find someone that's kind of new and you'd listen to their songs, and if you liked them, you would do what every young writer does. Hey, man, we should write sometime, you know, and then you would connect. And so that's how I kind of met.
Yeah, it was one of the first social networks.
But crazy and funny story, and I cannot believe I'm about to say this because I have never told this story before. But
it's great. You know what goes great with small town stories?
Original Glory, America's beer right here.
I've been drinking this every songwriting session today.
Man, that clean, crisp taste reminds me of summer nights on the back porch after a fresh mowed lawn.
And they're just not making great beer. They're investing in America's small towns.
Well, it's just like us. They believe in bringing communities together.
Not only do they invest in communities, but a portion of each sale goes to the veterans and the first responders and all the heroes that protect us.
For a limited time, you can become a member of the OG fam and invest in this beer at wefunder.com/original brands.
Join our Original Glory family and help ignite that Original Glory spirit.
My name is Glenn Story. I'm the founder and CEO of Patriot Mobile. And then we have 4 principles. First Amendment, Second Amendment, right to life, military and first responders. If you have a place to go put your money, you always want to put it with somebody that's like-minded. Of course. I think that's the beauty of Patriot Mobile. We're a conservative alternative.
Don't get fooled by other providers pretending to share your values or have the same coverage. Go to patriotmobile.com/smalltown to get a free month of service when you use the offer code SMALLTOWN or call 972-PATRIOT.
I added Michael Knox to Facebook, or to MySpace, and I messaged him, and I cannot remember exactly what I messaged him about, but he responded and was super nice. Yeah. And at the end of our conversation, I said to him, and this is 21-year-old, full of piss and vinegar me, that has nothing going on in the music industry. I literally said something like, "Hey, man, appreciate it. Tell Aldine I'm coming for him." And here I am 16 years later still trying to go for him.
Hey, you're still coming for him, though.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all coming for him.
Hey, I love the attitude.
So, man,
that's awesome. You need that.
I don't know if he remembers that, but
Did you get a response?
I think he laughed, or something. But it's fun. But it's funny to me, like now being in the business, I cringe at thinking that I would have done something that way, but 21-year-old mind to me was like, I meant every word of that. I was like, hell yeah, I'm freaking.
I think you have to have
take this
that
bitch
attitude.
over.
Trust me, he's heard. I met Michael when I was 21.
Yeah.
and so he was slinging songs at Warner Chapel, you know, and so he's heard it. Believe me, he appreciates that.
Yeah. Oh, I 100%. It's like, you know, when we were opening acts, playing 20 minutes in front of Urban or Rascal Flatts or anybody, that's what we said.
Yeah,
we're coming for your crowd. We're taking them.
Yeah,
not really. We're doing 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have
were.
that confidence, man. Like, I mean, because you guys know, man, you get kicked in the teeth so much with this business. Like, you have to have an unwavering belief in yourself and what you do. And obviously, you know, there's a line there. You don't want to be cocky, and you don't want to be sort of a know-it-all, but you gotta kind of have that competitive spirit in you, I think. Because
as a creative, look, as a creative, I'll be the first to say it. Like, there's that shell of confidence, and you got to keep that confidence here, because underneath that shell is just a bunch of insecurity.
100%.
So if you break through that confidence, which you got to keep that strong, because if you get down to the mush as a creative, it takes very little to like really start questioning yourself and what you're doing, and so that's the confidence is crucial to have.
I go back and forth all the time from those levels.
Well, it's a failure business. We said this a lot. 90% of what we do is failure. It's like you can write 100 songs. Most of them aren't getting cut. Most of them aren't going to make it. It's like that's what happens.
Most
in this
of them aren't any
business.
good.
Yeah.
And that's a fact.
It's the truth.
And then when somebody tells you that they're not any good, it all depends on how you handle that rejection, because we all went through that.
Yeah.
It was like, you know.
Well,
this could be better. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's fantastic.
Exactly.
It's
when you're like, well, they don't know music. You know,
Well,
and you get older and you kind of realize,
but some of them know and some of them don't.
Correct.
And it's hard to figure that out.
Correct.
That takes a minute.
Thank God we were surrounded, or at least I was, by people who actually knew what the hell they were talking about.
Well, if you look at that, sorry, Caleb.
Go ahead.
I was going to if you reference Aldine in that, as far as like confidence, and you can look at him as a great example of it. Like, we got passed on for years, telling him he's no good, and these songs are no good, you know. So if you don't have that confidence in yourself to say, okay, even if you don't have the right songs, you've got what it takes. You know it, right? So without that, I mean, we wouldn't have half the artists we have.
Well, you know, for me personally, man, like I wouldn't trade anything for my story and my path, because where I sit today at 37 versus, you know, what I was when I first moved to Nashville, I've sort of become like a journeyman in so many different aspects of the business, because I've had to do it. Like, I know what it's like to advance shows and to add ISRCs, you know, to distributions and all these things. And so, you know, I've always looked at guys like Aldine and Chesney and some of these people that, like, man, I don't know if a lot of people saw anything in them early, but they just kept grinding and just kept, I always just call it sharpening the knife. They just kept sharpening it until one day it cuts. And so I feel like I'm in that season of my career now to where, you know, a lot of people are discovering me on the road, but it's like, man, I've been hitting the pavement hard for the last 10 years, and I think I've got a lot of people in Nashville that they're kind of like, this guy will not go away, you know. And I don't think there's any sort of like, they don't want to see me succeed, but I think it's a little bit of like, man, that's awesome that he's like sticking it out. But for me, it's never been an option. Like, I've always sort of said, music is what I do, regardless of the success. I'm always going to write songs. I'm always going to play shows. I'm always going to record songs. To whatever success there is, I have dreams and goals where I want to be. But if it was about being successful, hell, I'd have hung it up a long time ago, you know. But I feel like now, having all that knowledge that I have and having the story I have makes me pretty dangerous now, you know, to be in this position.
I love that, man. I love you referencing Jason and, of course, Chesney, too. It's like, are they talented? Sure. But more than that, they succeeded because of the hard work and the perseverance, and even more so, when the opportunity came, they were ready for it.
Yep. What's the old saying? You don't have to get ready if you stay ready.
That's it.
Yeah.
You also said something crucial to the whole process, which I think some artists today don't get the chance to do this, which is defining their brand. And when you find your brand and you're comfortable in your own skin, you attack. Yes. And you stay there. And that's what Aldine did, Chesney did, it's what Tim did. that's the art of it. It's what Blake did. You know, when you find that and you have that success, then you can experiment, then you can veer off and you can be creative, but define your brand.
Someone told me that 3 or 4 years ago, they said to me, when you identify what makes you different than anyone else, that's what you lean into. Mm-hmm. And that is the center and core of your brand. You know, so if you look at a guy like Chris Stapleton, there's not a soul on this planet that can sing like Chris Stapleton. Mm-hmm. That's why he can stand there on stage and not move a muscle and wow a crowd. There's not a performer like Jason Aldean, and you know, that had that style of music, you know. And so it's, you find what makes you and better than anyone else, and nobody can beat you at your game. And so when I look at it, it's like, you know, I don't want to get in singing competition with Chris Stapleton because I know he'll sing circles around me. But I know what my thing is, and people can't beat me at my game. You know, you got, you know, same thing with quarterbacks. You know, you got guys that can throw deep balls. You got guys that, you know, can run. You got guys that, you know, are, you know, good backups, whatever it is. But when you find what makes you successful and different from anyone, that's when you got a shot, I feel like.
And generally, when you find it, you realize that's the truest you.
100%.
You know what I mean? And then when you buy into yourself, you know, you realize that, oh, okay, well, the crowd's, this crowd, country music, the fans, they love like being authentic, and they will buy into that if they believe it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And the fans have a weird way of knowing. Without ever talking to you, they know if you're yourself or not. It's just weird.
Country fans especially.
That's right.
Oh, they will see through it if it's not. But man, if it's true, they seem to buy in, and they'll buy in for 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, that's a great thing about this genre and these fans. You know, that's great. It's very exciting stuff going on for you.
No, Adam's a true pro. He's a true. I've been able to write with him and sit in the room with him, and I've written with a lot of, you know, artist wannabes, and y'all have too. And we've all been in the room and
like who, Neil?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I'll sit back.
Stir the pot. Time for some thrash talk.
Yeah, a little thrash talk.
No, it's not. I'm just saying some of these guys don't bring anything to the table.
Yeah.
You know, and gals, and I get it. They're being forced into these writing rooms, but this guy can actually bring it as a writer. You know, and it's
well, and if you, like you've been saying,
it cuts,
you know,
it cuts the workload in half to write with guys that know who they are and what they want to be. You know, and you're going to be big, I think, especially when the boxer pictures come out, the boxer short pictures. I mean,
big for all the wrong reasons. I mean,
well,
take it how you get it, but be big, but he won't be big.
Oh gosh.
well, the song.
You know, if it's coming out the side, it's got to be okay.
Yeah.
Depends.
Hey,
Depends what kind of boxers we got.
Yeah, I mean, especially
They were
being that
Under
cold.
Under Armour.
black Under Armour.
Well, there's your endorsement.
Yeah.
I think with the temperature being that cool and it coming out at all is a good sign.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
There's hope.
cheers.
Yeah.
Shrinkage is a thing.
I mean, unfortunately, it's a thing.
But no, like the songwriting thing, just to harp on that
Thank
just
you,
a little
Caleb.
bit. Even on the, it just helps in every way. Like all the artists that we were talking about, whether it be, you know, Aldean, Chesney, McGraw. It's not an accident that those guys, girls, Carrie Underwood, who is around, because whether they're writing those songs or not, they know what a hit song is, and they know what a hit song is for them.
That's exactly.
And that is really, and as writer, just a straight up writer, a lot of times we get frustrated and say, man, it's such a smash. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't record that, but it's not the right song for that artist on that particular day.
Yep.
You know?
And for me, like as a young writer artist, I felt like that was a lot of where my growth and learning came from. Was if you look at the songs I released early in my career, they were all good songs, and we had great success. You know, I had songs on Sirius XM The Highway that, you know, ran up their chart, and we sold tons of downloads, and, you know, I think we're 200 million plus streams all independently.
Yeah.
But they were all, there was nothing consistent. And what we were doing was, and this is no fault of anyone, but this is just sort of the way that business is, you know, I would write these songs, and they would, you know, my publishing company would pitch it to, you know, all the top artists. Well, when they wouldn't cut it, they would say, well, then you should put that out. Well, the problem is when you got 4 or 5 songs deep, you realize that one's going this way, one's going that way, one's going this way, and it's like there's no consistency here. You got good songs, but where's the brand, sort of thing. And so identifying that, a lot of people's asked me, like, how do you now write songs and know what's for you? And it's when you realize what your thing is. Like, I can still go write all those songs and we can pitch them to whoever, now, but I can quickly tell you, this feels like something in the sandbox I would play in, or this is a better off being a pitch, and so I like doing both. Like, sometimes, it's cool to write for what I'm thinking, but a lot of times it's more of like, man, let's just write the best song we can write that day, and if it falls in my category, cool. If it doesn't, there's plenty of buddies we can pitch this thing to.
Yeah.
Well, plus, if you, I really believe this, and even the young artists that we work with or produce or whatever, I do think there's a switch that has to be flipped from writer to artist. And when you switch that switch it to artist, you're going to write songs that are so good for yourself. You probably end up getting tons of cuts anyway because they're true to yourself.
Yeah.
And you're writing for yourself, and that's the most pure part of it, right? And so it's they'll want what you do. And all of a sudden you're going to have a pile of songs that you were kind of writing for yourself that everybody wants.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they're unique songs because you're not
You see this happen all the time. Like, look at the run Hardy went on.
Yeah.
How many outside songs did Hardy have cut because Hardy created his thing, and then everybody was like, dang, I kind of want a little bit of that, sort of thing. That happened with Thomas Rhett back in the day, and Cole Swindell. He had tons of, cuts, and so, it
always comes back. It's hard to figure out young, but when you get older and you're in that spot now, where it's like you're figuring out, damn, just do what we do what you do, and that will generally give you the best shot. I mean, it has for us. It's been a great learning. I wish we had learned this, God, years and years ago. It's hard to figure out. I feel like you're always chasing something. Chasing. You're always a step behind. We used to feel like we were a step behind, whether it was as an artist or being with Jason or writing. It always felt like we were chasing something. When you find that you're just doing something for yourself, generally it starts chasing you, and you're like, oh, this is great.
And you become the leader of the pack.
Yeah.
And then you see the trend of, I've sort of brought up like Zach Top. Okay. Zach Top is doing authentically what Zach Top does. Okay. Well, you see this resurgent of, I call it late 80s, early 90s country. Okay. Well, now you're going to see a wave of 30 people trying to do the same thing. And my mind is like, you're late to the party. Like when Aldean came out, he was the first one to plant the flag and say, hey, I'm having grungy guitars. And it was like a rock show. Well, then everybody was wearing a wallet chain and tight jeans and a cowboy hat the next day, walking around with an armband on, and it was like, buddy, like there will be versions of that, but like if you're the first one to do it, it's hard to beat the first one, at it, So for me, it's finding what that lane is and kind of knowing what that next wave is.
It's smart though, because a lot of artists, even after a certain amount of success, I see artists that have, 4 or 5 number ones on radio, still can't do a hard ticket, right? So I feel like I'll hear single to single is different. They're still chasing. They're chasing the hard ticket now. They're chasing something else. How can you connect on a bigger level? You're already ahead in the sense that it feels like you already know what you need to do.
Yeah.
Stay true to yourself.
You look at all of the guys that I call it sticking power. Every person that has sticking power that has been in this business and at the top for, decades, all have a brand. And a lot of times you can describe their brand with 1 or 2 words.
What's yours?
You give an example.
Boxers,
Give an
I guess.
example. But give an example of that, like 1 or 2 words for like a Chesney or McGraw or something.
Sam Hunt, for an example. Sam Hunt is mysterious. Like you don't ever see him doing these selfie videos. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Sam Hunt. Blah, 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 blah. Like, he's just kind of that guy that's like, he's either there or he's not.
The one thing that Sam Hunt did, he came out of the chute with awesome songs.
Yes.
And they were
Just
unique.
Freaking killed people. They killed every writer in town. They killed
Yeah.
the listener. That everybody just loved what he was putting out. Mm-hmm. The songs were just killer.
Yeah, I mean, even look at like a guy like Keith Urban. You know, like Keith Urban is like a mold of like a triple threat. Like he's like guitar playing, writing, and singing all in one. It's like it's hard to kind of like twine that up, you know, like into one thing. You know, like that's his thing. But he's got energy in his show, but it's a different energy than what like Aldean is. You know, like it's Aldean's more of a
more
rough
raw.
around the edges
He's a
kind of
badass.
thing.
Yeah, it's just a different
And
kind of cool.
Yes, he's the hat down. He's kind of that slant, like that that slant smirk, you know, kind of thing of like, girl, you know you want it. And she's like, yes, I do. That's what he is, you know.
And he's coming after you, Aldean.
and Urban is just kind of that. He's just got a little swagger to him, you know. It's like it looks effortless, you know. Like he just plays these notes and he just kind of has this little lean about him and his hair.
He does do that shoulder thing.
Yeah. He just has a thing. You know?
Urban, we've always been a huge fan of Keith just because he's, you know, we used to go out, we opened for him years and years ago, and he was at that point what I would say was our purest, you know, closest thing to a rock star we had in country music, just with the way he was going about it, you know, and always been a fan of his. And you're right, he's got all things covered. He puts on a great show, does his thing. You know, that's it, does his thing. And you can,
to me, one of the best examples of this, Eric Church.
Yeah.
When Eric Church threw on aviator sunglasses and pulled that ball cap down and crushed it down,
That's
started
when.
beating on his chest,
Yeah.
well, he found his brand.
son.
And he leaned into that.
And it
Yep.
went to, hey, I'm sort of a little bit against the establishment here, and I'm gonna kind of be the rebel of I'm gonna be the stepbrother of country music over here, and I'm not gonna let anybody tell me how to do it and what I do. I'm not gonna be confrontational about it, but I'm gonna stand right here and. If I'm gonna sing a song about smoke a little smoke, I'm gonna sing it, you know, sort of thing.
We love Eric.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's that, you know, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like he was great before, but he was just kind of a guy.
Well,
you know,
I was gonna say
before
this,
then.
and
He
this
put
is
those
found it,
glasses
yeah.
on, son, and it was just like a light.
Well, it's not the
Yeah,
same
pull
guy
the
that,
curtain back.
Yeah.
We all know Eric before it happened for him.
two pink lines, Eric,
yeah.
was different than Eric allowed to be Eric.
Chief, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that he was on tour this opening when he was discovering that, like, Smoke Little Smoke had just come out, and you could see, you know, two pink lines that was going away, and he's discovering who he is, what his sound is, and that's a great thing because
There ain't nobody like
it
him.
was different.
No,
it was
ain't nobody like
it
him.
was different than what we were doing. Edgy and they're both edgy, but different kind of edge.
Correct.
You know, so he found his little lane, and those lanes exist. And if you can find it, like Kenny, just destroyed that lane when he figured out what he was. Man, he is now the Jimmy Buffett of country music.
Yep.
And it's amazing to see what he's done. Talk about an example of. I think he sets the bar as an example of how to do it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
From the work ethic to discovering his brand to how to tour to how to treat his people to how to do it all. I can't
Kenny,
think of
I
a
agree.
better.
He's second to none, and his work ethic
Yeah.
is like unlike anything
Yeah.
I've ever seen from any other artist.
Yeah.
And he's hands-on at everything.
Everything. It's really impressive to be out. We were out there with him for a little bit, and it was like, man, this is how you do it. Like, this is a great example for us and for other artists who were wanting to learn, still learning. We learn from,
Kenny
you
stayed a
can't
step
never stop
ahead.
learning.
He
Yeah.
stayed a step
Yeah.
ahead in the music world too. I mean, like as far as the songs he was cutting, he always stayed a step ahead of everybody else.
Yep.
He just got inducted to the
Yeah.
Country
Yeah,
Music
he
Hall of
did.
Fame.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
So
was
it's
my
really,
first
really cool.
cut I ever had over 30 years ago when he was on Capricorn Records.
What song was that?
Angel of the Devil.
Wow.
I've got to watch his career and follow his career since the
But
very
like,
get-go.
he's a guy that like his first couple records,
right.
Yeah.
he's just kind of a guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, and there's a little success, but to me, it turned when that first album where he's standing on the beach and he put a black tank top on and he's got a black cowboy hat with a puka shell necklace, and he comes out with, wanna be rebels that didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
You know, like it turned there, and that's when
yeah.
it went to. He started selling the tonight is not about me; it's about all of you. I'm the host of your party, and I'm inviting you to have a great time, and I'm selling you nostalgia. I'm selling you, you know, young and, you know, all I go back and all those things, you know, that made you remember your childhood and all that. Like, that's what he sold, you know, and it made it work into like a stadium. And that's, I mean.
And you can hear in every artist's first couple of albums, right? Listen to our first couple of albums, and they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got Hicktown on the first album, but then you got stuff that's like, wow, what were we doing? You know, but you're trying to figure out yourself. And it happens around that third album.
Yep.
You start to figure out, oh, this is what we're good at. And that's exciting to watch artists figure that out when they have the chance to. Eric, everybody. You know, you start to, Blake, you can see it. Keith, figure it out, you know.
It's kind of like, when y'all talking about that, I think about Jamie Johnson. Like when he came to town, I was writing at EMI, and he got signed to EMI. I was at the Christmas party, and I didn't know him. He was new in town, but he was just had on a normal shirt, a leather jacket, and just almost a high and tight haircut, just neat as a pin. He didn't come to town as that, you know, with the outlaw and all the hair and the beard and everything, but he found through his music and everything, he found that lane, and he took it over. And there's nobody like him.
I think guys like Jamie Johnson, to that point, he finally let loose and did what he wanted to do.
Correct.
Yeah.
Instead of what they wanted him to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I identify so much with that because, like, I am now, you know, when I first got here and I started, like, putting out songs on my own, you know, I had a publisher and I had booking agent and management. I was like, my team looked like the Patriots, like on paper. And I said to them, hey, let's stop chasing record deals. For whatever reason, we're getting a not right now, which is, we all know what that means. And I said, I need to just kind of do some soul searching and figure out what my thing is. Because I identified it, and I said, it can't be, why is this not translating to a record deal? It can't be the numbers, because I was crushing on numbers. I had plenty of show experience at that point. What was missing was the brand. Like, what my thought was is, you know, labels were looking at me and was like, how do we build a star out of this, you know, with nothing like a, you know, foundation. And so I stepped back from it, and when I realized what made me me and I started turning it, their thought and version of me was going this way, mine was going this way. So I tore it all back down to the foundation and started all over again. And literally for the last 6 years, I've literally self-managed myself. You know, I went through some booking agent stuff. I am just now building it back because I had to go out and prove the model of what it was that I'm doing. And now that it's working, it's like, okay, now we can bring back the managers, and now we can bring back the business managers, and, you know, all these things.
Make it their idea.
Yeah.
It's always their idea, right?
It is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you let them think it. You don't ever
Oh, yeah.
Of course you do.
Play
Ever.
ball.
Of course you do.
No.
God, Adam, I didn't know you before you got here. I'm a fan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm a big
Thank you.
fan.
Thank you.
I've won me
Well,
over.
Matt, look, I've been a huge fan of you guys. I can honestly tell you, the first Aldine record changed my life. Like, it literally, I remember, you know, being in my hometown, getting ready to move to Nashville, and when, you know,
Was there a particular song
Hicktown,
off that one, or Hicktown?
you know, just that
Amarillo
whole first,
Sky,
you know, couple records, you know, like
Yeah.
I remember listening to it thinking, whatever this is, I want to be a part of that.
I think it was authentic, and that's probably what you felt.
Yeah.
It was just like, God.
But I love the energy. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm a very passionate singer. Like, I love to sing. And I loved the energy that it brought, like, in the speakers. Like, I grew, like, Alan Jackson was my childhood idol. Yeah. But Alan Jackson ain't getting up there and wailing on a guitar and, you know, hitting these big rangy notes, you know, whatever. And so, like, I always just was a guy that just loved to sing big belty notes, and Aldine does a lot of that stuff. And so man, like I said, I've been a fan of you guys, just watching y'all's whole career grow, and then all the songs you've been a part of, you know, through the years. And both of you guys have been a part of some of, you know, the staple songs of my life that I can go back to and say, man, like, there goes my life. And, you know, all these songs that I look at that, like, made me want to be in this business. And to be sitting here with you guys today is, man, it's crazy. Like I'm literally living what my 3-year-old dream was, is to be sitting here, just
Go on.
Yeah. It's very kind.
But no, continue.
So was one of your favorite Aldine songs early on "Laughed Until We Cried" by chance?
Yes, all of them.
He doesn't even know that song.
I knew it.
My all-time favorite.
trying to
My
figure out
all-time
what we
favorite is
were.
probably it's between "Why" or "The Truth," But I mean that'd be
Mine too.
somewhere about
Those are
third
two
or
good
fourth,
ones.
somewhere there.
Yeah. See, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, being the top 5.
You know what's funny? It is I actually that song "Laughed Till We Cried" should have been a 5-week number 1 song.
so good.
It was just we weren't the right ones to do it.
At that right time.
Yeah.
At that time, we were
Timing
just
is
not.
huge.
But it's funny. It's all
It goes back to
pertains to
finding
this,
that
though.
thing,
Yes,
you know?
it also
Yeah.
goes back to people chasing what something is. So I remember the label being like, okay, well this is a huge, just like a Tim McGraw type song, and that's what you did. Like, what's the quickest, best way to get to the next level? And that song was an incredible song. Just wasn't right for us.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, now it's easy to say that. Then it felt. I remember cutting it in the studio. I remember saying, "Oh, that's everybody's that's a huge song."
Kalo does
but
a really good version of it in the writers' rounds. I'm gonna
thanks,
brag on you because it's really good because the room goes, whoom, and it's really
Well, it helps
good.
because you're singing with me. It makes it sound
No, it's really
anything
good.
you're singing on it elevates
whatever.
it by a lot. But I was going to say too, you got a single out now on Drew Baldridge, right? The Tough People.
Yeah,
Is it
so
like in the top
so
20, something like that.
Well, it
Double dipping.
It
I like it.
topped out at top 10 and they pulled it.
Okay.
But I do have his next single that is coming out to radio
dude.
too, and it's
That's
a 2
amazing.
So yeah,
Coming out in 2 weeks?
Am I the only one at the table that doesn't have a single in charts right now?
I don't.
But you
Well,
got
I don't
don't
currently.
you have
I mean-
don't you have that pop thing out with?
Oh, yeah, it's not on radio. It's been out a while, but it's still
Okay.
going though. It's like all around.
okay, so
it's
me and you-
international.
So we need.
Oh, it's international.
Okay. All right.
yeah,
So
big leaguer over here.
No kidding.
I'm more local.
That's real money.
We're more mom and pop. You're Walmart and we're Granny's kitchen.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're IKEA. Yeah.
I forgot about that. Thank you, Kalo. I feel better now.
You're welcome.
Don't forget to watch Adam on the road. I'm going to watch now.
I can't wait.
Heck yeah.
CBS Paramount. Is that what you
CBS
said?
Paramount Plus. Yep.
Oh, we're gonna have watch night now. I'm gonna have popcorn. It's like I'm gonna be jumping up and down like I'm watching a Bama game.
By God, yeah, do it.
He's Florida, by the way. Kalo.
Oh,
I know.
I am.
I do
Hey,
he's a
appreciate that.
Gator.
Hey, yeah. Go ahead. Tell me
Well,
what you're
speaking of
gonna
that,
say.
it's funny because we've had a tough year, obviously, and
bought-
tough few years, but I ain't looking over there.
I brought this for Kalo. Sorry.
We did.
Don't interrupt his story.
We did. The premiere of The Road was the 19th of October, and so that was Sunday. And I texted a buddy. He was like, "How you feeling? It's the premiere." And I was like, "Man, this is a great day." Florida's getting a new head coach because they fired, Billy Napier, and the premiere of The Rose tonight. Heck, I couldn't be any better. So it worked
They
out.
needed to do that.
Yeah.
They needed to do that, in my
Yeah.
opinion. It was time to go for Napier.
Yeah, I mean, I was a fan of him, but at
Yeah.
some point, you win ball games or you don't.
You gotta win.
Like that's
Yep.
what it's going to be.
And
so-
Florida deserves to win games. I mean, they really do.
Yeah.
That's that kind of program.
You
And
can't.
now,
You can't have it. You can't. I mean, Florida. You had a great run. You can't. It can't be like this.
See, I was a senior in high school when all that was going down. Tim Tebow come and played at our high school when he was a senior, and then when I got out, that was all during the Tebow years or whatever. And so, man, my early 20s was thebomb.com. So
Right.
it was awesome, and then it's been a little rough through the years, but I don't know. I'd love to see us get back on top, and everybody keeps saying, we might get Kiffin, we might get Urban back, and it's like I don't know.
You don't want Urban.
I don't know if
I
we
think
want
they're
Urban.
like everybody seems to like they really pushing Kiffin.
It seemed,
But why would
you know.
Kiffin leave where he's at?
I don't
That's
think
what-
he would.
I don't
I
think
don't
he
think
does.
he would.
He's got a
Right?
pretty good gig
because
there.
because it's Florida.
But all right.
Who would want to? Who's a better candidate to
No
pick
one.
up, to pick up where
He would
Spurrier
look right
no one.
at Florida.
where
He would
Spurrier
look
left
right.
off
But-
than Kiffin?
Are we just, as a Florida fan, and I'm trying to be honest with myself, am I, we won a national championship, 20 years ago? So are we looking at it from a standpoint, is Florida really as prevalent of a job as we think it is? If you look at the last 20 years,
I think
don't
it
know.
is.
You know, like, I would like to think
it is. I think
like
it is.
there is some deep roots that are there at Florida. You know, of what it could be.
Is.
Well, nobody wants to play at the Swamp.
Yeah.
Especially Tennessee. I'm a Tennessee fan. We don't ever want to play there.
I mean,
Like,
when
we
we're
have a
right,
rough time.
that is the good thing about Florida. Like when Florida's right, they're tough to handle. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
And recruiting-wise,
they've given a lot of people some headaches. But when we're bad, we're bad.
Yeah. Well,
My whole mission tonight was just to start a feud between you two, and I was just going to sit back and watch.
Well, it's not really a feud right
No,
now.
Florida
we
and
don't play
Tennessee
for a couple.
hate each
we do.
other.
I mean, fan bases.
Why did they move that game so late this year? Because
I
it's
don't know.
always
I don't know why they
the
did
third
that.
or fourth game of the season.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I did
Does
that.
it still mean as much? The,
Oh, yes.
the teams are
It
so
will.
good.
It still.
100%.
It still
doesn't
will.
matter if they're
It's
both 0-10.
I mean, like,
It doesn't
you still
matter.
doing
if
okay from last week?
Yeah, I'm doing.
I know
I'm
Neil's
hanging in there.
being very nice to you tonight. By
Hanging
the
in
way,
there.
you notice that?
Yeah, I wasn't sure how much we.
It's easy
since
to
we
be
had
nice
Adam, I
when
didn't
you
know we
win.
talk about football a lot, but
Adam will talk about. He'll talk about anything. He'll talk about killing deer, football, whatever you want to go. Where you want
Yeah.
to talk about next? You know.
so.
He'll
But
do
I do owe you $100 because that was the
It was
bet.
500.
No,
thought
we
it was
got
1,000.
We whittled it down to 100. Jim can pull
You
up
don't
the
want to
notes.
put on. You don't want to put on the jersey that Nick
No, that
brought
wasn't
me?
that wasn't the deal. That wasn't part of the deal. Remember?
You gotta wear.
that?
You gotta wear Alabama
Richardson.
boxers.
Oh, heck yeah.
Nick brought it to me.
Heck yeah.
Nice, Nick.
It's a gift. He knows. Roll Tide.
You ever put it on?
Oh,
You're an Alabama
hang
fan?
up.
Okay.
And I did your podcast. That's 615.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was a rough game. That was a rough
Hey,
game.
you should have to next time. Loser goes hunting in boxers, goes in the water, takes a picture
Takes a
with
picture.
the other
I'm
team's
telling you,
boxers
man.
on.
I can't
Yeah.
wait
Okay.
to see the picture. I can't wait.
I got.
It's gonna be dangerous.
There's only 2 or 3 people that knows about it that I've actually told.
Well, now,
like what happened.
a few
There's
people-
gonna be
now,
there's gonna be
now what
now-
they've done is we're in this thread and they have zoomed in on it, and every about third day they just send a picture of just the zoomed in spot in the text thread, and I'm just like, I can't live it
love
down.
that.
I
I
can't
love
live it
it.
down.
That's amazing.
There'll be about 30-something thousand looking at it next week.
We'll blast
They're
that
gonna be
thing
searching
out.
it. Good luck on the road, dude.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna be
Congratulations, too.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Thank you,
on
man.
and it's so great for an artist like you to be getting this shot and doing it the right way. You know, I think it's important.
Yeah. You guys know, man. There's so much of this, and is fate and timing. Like, how many people do we know that we have seen through our careers that are just as good, just as deserving to be some of the biggest songwriters, the biggest artists, but for whatever reason, fate and timing just didn't sort of work out, and for whatever reason, I just feel like my fate and timing is now, and to capitalize on these opportunities I've been given over the last year or so, and at some point, and the crazy thing is about a year and a half ago, my prayer was, I kind of had gotten in the spot where I was just kind of like, Lord, I felt like everything that I had accomplished in my career was all manifested through my hard work, because I could justify it from the standpoint of saying, man, because I grinded my ass off and because I stayed up till 3 a.m. and making all these, social media posts and, uploading these songs to TuneCore and all these things and emailing people at playlists and all this, I can directly say this is why these things moved. And I feel like that's a bad place to be in, because obviously everything comes from, him and giving you the ability to have, the strength to do that. And I kind of got to a spot in my career where I said, you know what? If all the success that I've had is all that it is, I'm good with it. Like, I kind of accepted, like, if I never write another #1 song, if I never get, the dream of, selling out, Nissan Stadium, whatever, I'm good with it. You know what my dreams are and where my heart is. But my prayer was, I said, Lord, at some point, you have to open doors for me that I cannot open myself. And if you open them, I will walk through them. But there's got to be fate and timing with all this. And when I literally let go of it all and just sort of said, hey, it is what it is, but I'm going to keep working. Everything started to line up. I got a song back on radio. I got this opportunity to go on the road, and all these different things that are happening. So I feel
you're on Try That in a Small Town podcast right now.
That's right. Hey,
this is I mean,
wow.
We might have closed a couple doors.
This is real time. This is real time answered prayers.
Whatever. Hey, God works in mysterious ways.
Very mysterious.
But it's just crazy the fact that 5-10-year-old ago me would be so chomping at the bit right now to manifest something, like trying to connect dots and trying to do this. And I'm honestly just kind of like I didn't ask to be on this podcast. You were like, hey, you want to come do that? I'm like, hell yeah, I'd love to do that. Yeah. Before I'd be like, hey, if y'all got any open spots, hit a brother up. Sort of thing. So it's good to be in this spot of feeling a little bit free to kind of I'm just taking it as it comes. And not overexerting myself with worrying about things that you try to put together, because 80% of the things that you spend time trying to manifest, they don't ever pan out anyways, so you just wasted all that energy over here on stuff that didn't even matter,
Yeah, amen. I love that.
You're in a good spot.
Well, one of the requirements of coming on here if you're an artist is you have to write a song with us.
Okay. Done deal.
Okay.
That'd be easy.
Well, that's just one of the requirements. Whether it's easy or not. I don't care if it's easy or not.
Y'all taking my publishing too? You mean so I'm I'm on it and I don't.
No, I don't do
we'll
that.
Talk about
it,
we'll talk about that later. We'll talk.
Yeah.
It's just one of the requirements.
Just initial here.
Just sign this. It's power of attorney.
It's okay.
It can't be any worse than the road participation agreement.
That's got to be right. Yeah.
With that, make sure you're watching Adam on the road, CBS Paramount Plus. Make sure you're watching us on YouTube. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, all the places you can get podcasts. We're there, I think.
We're there. Should be there. We're everywhere.
Yeah.
Download all of the stuff. We want to thank Patriot Mobile. We want to thank eSpaces. We want to thank Original Glory Beer. Thank you to Adam Sanders. This is the Try That in a Small Town podcast.